So their brain was just operating a little bit faster. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Like energy systems for our muscles, we use creatine for our muscles, then we use glucose, and we'll also use fats. But our brain is usually using the creatine system because it is replenishing energy really fast and using it really fast. Just like when you're doing 1 or 2 reps on a bench press or something. So it's almost like you're fueling and giving yourself a pre-workout that's for the brain that is safe to use all the time. Now, there's also a lot of evidence suggesting that creatine may help reduce what is called neuroinflammation. Now, if you look at the scientific literature, neuroinflammation is definitely something that can make us feel foggy and our brains not operate as sharp. Now, a lot of research still needs to be done, but the evidence that we do have shows that creatine is almost just as powerful for the brain as it is for the muscles. There's a link down below to try creatine gummies from Create. These are allulose sweetened gummies that are not having a bunch of added sugar to them. So 1.5 grams of creatine monohydrate per gummy. So you could take 1.5 grams, or you could go ahead and load up to 8, 10, 12 grams, whatever you'd like to do to find the sweet spot for you. So check them out down below.
All right, let's get it. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving your perspective on teamwork. So we will not get anywhere. So we do not teach you how to rise to the occasion, teach you how to fall to your level of preparation. Top 5 Tuesday, continuing on the theme of the week where we're talking all about how do you process and digest the losses. And I gotta first of all, gotta give shouts out to one of my favorite people to listen to, Rich Eisen, who is also a psychotic Michigan fan like myself. And he, I think his take on the loss was absolutely on point. It was very mature. Now you're talking about someone who been past 4 years, like me, past 4 years, has had a lot of shit to say on this particular week, this particular Monday, and for him to lay it out in terms of how much Ryan Day deserves the credit, deserves the respect, deserves the humility, the way he outclassed the Michigan Wolverines when he had every opportunity, he would have had been well within his rights at that press conference to go in there and absolutely shit on, just really, really give it to all of the Michigan Wolverines faithful. He said, look, we're going to win with humility, going to win with class, and we're going to just win and go out and do our business. So again, shouts out to Ryan Day, shouts out to the Ohio State Buckeyes for outplaying us and outclassing us after the game, which is the more important thing. And, that brings me to today's move. That kind of helps me get over the loss, to be honest with you, man. But it brings me to today's Top 5 Tuesday, which is the top 5 ways to process these losses. Now, again, there's 2 types of people. There's people that actually go out, play, risk a lot of things, and the probability of them losing is very high, and they still go out and compete every single day. There's that type of person. Or there's the person that just plays in a way or goes about life just trying to avoid ways of losing, right? They just simply play it safe, and they every single move they make, every single decision that they make is about avoiding ways to lose, right? They don't really take risks like that. Again, there's a solid mix that you need of both of them. And again, that's a more detailed conversation. But when it comes to the losses, that regardless of which side you're on, which type of person you're on, you're going to experience some losses. And there's a processing that needs to happen. And it can happen like in the instance. It can happen it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to be a stepping stone that you need to process your mind for doing. And the first thing you have to do when it comes to, again, we're on number 1 here, and I'll dive deeper into all this on the live stream later, or you may be listening to this on the live stream. But the very first thing you have to do when it comes to losses and whatever loss you've experienced is don't get over it. You never get over it. I tell you, listen to me, man. You never get over it. If you're pretending like you're over a loss, then you are lying. All right? You're lying to yourself, and eventually it's going to come out in dialogue. It's going to come out in conversation. You never get over these things. I never get over these things. There's people I've lost. There's people that have come in and out of my life that I'm never going to get over. Right? There's games that I've lost and things I've done that I'm never going to get over. It's not bad. It just makes you human. You lost and you learn something, but don't try to get over it per se. Really try to take away what you can take away. And that leads me to number 2 is don't let one loss become 2 losses. All right. So the process of not getting over a loss is the second part, which is now don't let it happen again. All right, just don't let it happen again. Learn what you can. This is why I tell you, don't get over it. Don't get over it. Never get over it. Because number two, don't let one loss become two losses. Because if you let one loss become two losses, now you're just a fucking loser. And obviously no one wants to fuck with you. But the reality of it is you have to be honest enough with yourself to face the next situation and face the next person and say, hey, this is what I played. This is the role I played. I own that, and move on, so you don't let one loss become two losses. All right. So that's number two. And number three, you got to see who's in your corner. All right. This is the important. This is why losing is so important. Losing something is so important, because you get to start to see who's actually in your corner, who's still picking up the phone, who's still picking you up, who's still, rocking with you after you've, taken whatever L you're going to take. And then number four, like I started off today's Boost 55, which is you have to respect your opponent. There has to be a level of mutual respect to where you want to beat the best. You want to go compete with the best. You want to actually go out and compete with worthy opponents, right? And the game of football is the best teacher in that. Sports in general is the best teacher when it comes to that, all right? And then you do 1 through 4. Here's number 5. Now you do 1 through 4. You don't get over the losses. You don't let one loss become two losses. You see who's in your corner. You respect your opponent. You align all 4 of those things. And before you know it, number 5, here we go again, baby. Here we go again. You will have your opportunity to avenge it. So again, if we're talking about the Michigan-Ohio State game, you do 1 through 4 the right way. Before you know it, you're going to blink, snap your fingers, and bang, 365 days will go by, and you're in Columbus, Ohio, ready to avenge the loss and go get another win, all right? That's how it works. Is you have got to make sure you're processing it in the right way. So before you know it, you are so tuned into the process. You're so tuned in the tunnel vision to where you won't linger along. It won't allow it to linger for too long without you getting right back on the track and moving forward. And next thing you know, your opportunity comes to avenge whatever loss you had. All right. So that's the process. And again, I'll dive deeper into all of these concepts later on the live stream. So make sure you're liking, comment, subscribe, and sharing this out to anybody, particularly business owners that are in need, a dire need of employee development. All right. Main website for all that to makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYayamove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs.
Hey, it's one Crookshank, the one and only Move 50 speaker. Check it out. You guys consider Move 50. You heard me. You heard me say it right, man. All in all, actually, I'll start today's live stream with the Drake line. One of my favorite Drake lines is, all in all, I learned a lesson from it, though. You never see it coming. You just get to see it go. All in all, I learned a lesson from it, though. You never see it coming. You just get to see it go. That's what it's about, man. You're going to take your L's. You got to keep on moving. And the quicker you can get on this path, then boom, the opportunity is coming up. It's right around the corner if you align yourself and keep yourself focused. So all that being said, let me reintroduce myself to anybody that's new around here. Again, my name, it's As1 Crookshank. I am your one and only Move 50 speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 6-time published author and educator. I created this whole brand, this whole concept, this whole movement that's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them and applying them to businesses and business owners so they have a staff and or a group of employees that moves as efficiently, as cohesively, as strategically, as powerfully as a championship high school or youth football team. That is what we do around here. If you're interested in more employee development, if you want to hear more about that, again, that website is right there on the screen. You can do whatever research you need to have on me. It's all there on makeyourmove.com. That is MakeYayamove.com. Again, make sure you get a pre-order a copy of the newest book, actually, How to Be a Win-Entrepreneur, Stories and Strategies on How to Earn Your Keep with or Without a Job. Again, this is the latest in the literature world of your one and only. You see, it has all my accomplishments. It's a lot of years in between those books, especially right there. So it's always rewarding to see. I can't wait to be holding the book in my hands and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's get into today's article and jump right into it, because a Top 5 Tuesday, we have our Top 5 Tuesday, and you know what we're talking about, right? I already laid it out a little bit on today's Move Swiftly Thought, which is there's a process. There's a way that you got to handle losses, because you know it's going to happen. You know it's inevitable. Whatever it is, you're going to lose relationships. You're going to have to be single. You're going to lose a job. You're going to lose the family members. You're going to lose games. All that stuff is a part of life. And it's so important that the way you process it is actually going to turn into a win. All right, I want to hold on. the way you process it is going to turn into a win. There's no losses. There's only lessons. Hear me when I say it based on the way you think. There's actually no losses. There's only lessons, and stuff comes back around. Again, I'm experiencing this in my own personal life outside of Michigan football. I won't give you too many details, but in my own personal life, there's somebody getting lost, but because I lost that person, it opened the door for another person. All right, you guys kind of know what I'm saying without saying it. Because I lost one person, another better, even more say both profitable and a more fulfilling opportunity presented itself. Right, I'm saying it in a very professional way because I don't have permission to share too much, but I want to make sure I'm on the record saying it. Because I lost a specific person, there's a more fulfilling opportunity that has come my way that I'm now, as you can see, I'm a whole lot more full of life, more adventurous, more just excited. But there's so many more things happening in my life because of this person, because I was able to open my eyes up when I lost the other person. All right. So again, I won't say it without saying it, but you guys get where the gist of it I'm going, especially if you know me personally. But you know, the key to today's topic is applying everything that I'm telling you, the superpower, what we do. Again, like I tell you every single morning, what we do around here is we take the lessons from the game and we apply them to life. So take everything I'm saying and figure out how you can take this same process, the same blueprint, and apply it to your business when you lose a client, apply it to your business when you lose a sale, apply it to your business when you have to lose an employee, even if the employee is great, but that employee might have just found another opportunity and you got to figure out how you're going to replace that person because that person did a lot. Again, that's something I've actually experiencing now in my place of business. There was a former staff member who I was hired by, who's no longer there because she took a better opportunity somewhere else. And then the person that they brought in to replace her is not measuring up. It's not measuring up to who she was. And again, that they got to understand also too, is when I'm being asked the question, who she's being compared to is not the same. And that's why it's important that you constantly develop and you figure out how to handle these losses, because you will lose. I want to make sure I'm saying that as frequently as possible for you guys today. You're not avoiding it. I don't give a shit how safe you play it. I don't give a shit how sure of a thing you may have. You will lose at some point, and you have got to figure out how you're going to get over these losses. All right, so let's jump right into the article here. So, Top 5 Tuesday, how to handle losses. And man, I mean, listen, again, and I'm with Sharon Moore, just kind of off the record here because I want to make sure I'm saying what I need to say. When it comes to Sharon Moore, I disagree with a lot of what I've heard when it comes to a lot of Michigan fans saying it's time for him to go and, you know, he needs to be canned. I understand what they're saying because it's a huge drop off from an undefeated national championship team to now work kicking last-second field goals to beat Northwestern. And he, for, you know, about a year now, he's been holding on to this Ohio State win. And now that's off the table. So the seat is getting hot, and, you know, the criticism, it's coming. You had the suspension. You had, you know, a lot of drama when it came to Sharon Moore. I disagree with anybody that says he needs to be fired. I do not agree with it one bit. All right. Now, what does need to happen is that quarterback that we paid a good amount of money for that quarterback needs to get developed. He's been degressing from the first day. He needs to get developed, and there needs to be more when it comes to the amount of things that he can do. I believe Sharon Moore can do that, especially him being a former offensive lineman, especially him coaching the likes of the J.J. McCarthy's and building that dynamic offense to where they did a great job in utilizing the run game to open up the door for the pass rush, but open up the door for the pass game. Hear me. Michigan did not have the players. They did not have the players to actually implement that. They didn't have the players. And when I say they didn't have the players, I mean Bryce Underwood specifically was not ready for that moment. All right. When I say they didn't have the players, I'm talking about Bryce Underwood. He was not ready for that moment. He just wasn't. They had some talent in receiver, they had some talent, you know, tight end wise. At the end of the day, he was not ready. There were certain throws he wasn't stepping up in. He was missing guys down the field. And again, the offensive line was not giving him enough time. He just did not. There was not enough development offensively. Granted, very, very young, and they need work to do. But when it comes to them letting him go and all that kind of stuff, I completely disagree with that. I think he deserves one more year to really get this ship right. Now, my tune might change if we don't beat Ohio State next year, because now there are no excuses. But at this point, no, I disagree with anybody that thinks he should be fired. And I love Sharon. I really do, man. I love the emotion. I love how hyped you guys are. I love seeing him out there doing his thing, but something gotta happen. You just can't lose the 3 toughest games on our schedule. We got our ass kicked. It was not a close game against Oklahoma. It wasn't a close game against USC. It wasn't a close game against Ohio State. And then whoever we're playing, it looks like we might be in the Citrus Bowl playing against Texas, which I hope we do, because I get to go to Orlando again. I get to see them play in the Citrus Bowl. I'll be there if they have a game out here in Florida. But the thing about it is you got to develop that kind of talent, and he did not develop in the right way this year, right? So that I'll say that on that front, because when it comes to him and the way he looked at that press conference, you could tell, okay, this is it. That was the last straw. If you'd have beat Ohio State, nobody would be talking about it. But you can't be losing to Ohio State the way you lose, in the fashion of having them come up in here and bully us and act like we just push us around like that. And that's the 3rd time it happened this year. So here we go. Let me start today. Let me start today the same way I started yesterday, venting, and I already started venting, right? Because I'm still pissed, all right? As a guy who played on the defensive side of football, nothing annoys the fuck out of me more than the national media turning every damn conversation into the quarterback this and the quarterback that. It's disrespectful, it's lazy, and it's flat out wrong. I wasn't even all the way wrong with my prediction last week. All right, so this leads me back into the point that I made before I started the article. Wasn't even wrong in what I said last week. All right, I said that the game would be won and lost in the trenches, not some pretty boy finesse bullshit that ESPN and the mainstream media hype machine keeps pushing. And guess what? I was right. Ohio State was the tougher team, the more physical team, the team that controlled the line of scrimmage. They had a 20-play drive, a drive that went 20 plays. And in football, real football, that's all that matters. So, yeah, I'm still frustrated, still disappointed, and still dealing with the fact that the team I love got punched in the mouth for 4 straight quarters. But anger aside, that brings us to this week's real topic, right? How do you handle losses? And like I said at the beginning, it's also about business as well. There's going to be days, there's going to be situations that you're a part of, and significant others. There's going to be something that happens in which you got to figure out how to handle the loss. First thing you got to do, you don't get over them. Won't happen, and that saying of, oh man, you just got to get over the loss and all that. No, I never really understood that. I never bought into that. I don't like the saying. You never get over these things. I never get over these things. If you get over losses, hear me. If you're the type of person that just gets over losses, that means you don't really give a shit. That means you don't care enough. I'll tell you guys a story. It was my last game. It's my last game coaching I was a high school football coach for 2 seasons, and I remember we lost in a playoff game. I mean, a bad loss in a playoff game. And I remember there was a coach that came in who would help out, and he looked at the players and he goes, the fact that there's no emotion on any one of your faces, the fact that you guys aren't crying, the fact that you are just, you're okay with these losing, that's the sad part. That's the part that hurts me, right? The part that hurts me is you don't give a shit. You are out here just, put the jersey on, put the helmet on, and you win there, you want to celebrate. But the fact that when you lose and you're not emotional, you don't give a shit, that's the part that hurts. You don't get over these things. These things you don't get over them. You don't get over them. And it's important that you do not get over them, because you have so much to learn from it. And I mean never, all right? I mean never get over these things. The loss, not the loss of a game, not the loss of a significant other, not the loss of a job or even a family member. You do not get over these things, all right? You don't erase them. You don't pretend they didn't shape you. You carry them with you, all right? That doesn't mean you stay stuck, all right? But getting over it and staying stuck forever are 2 different things, all right? This is why it's important that you guys hear me on this. It doesn't mean you stay stuck forever. Life moves in seasons. People move in and out. Chapters close. You grow, you heal, you mature. But The worst advice, right here, hear me. This is what made me want to make this point right here. The worst advice people give is just get over it. No, that is not the case. That is not something that I would recommend. You don't just get over shit and then hope to have something better in the future. That is the worst thing that you can tell someone. Just get over it. No. Coach Sharon Moore said it perfectly. He said it in his press conference, and I listened to the full press conference when he was done. Coach Sharon Moore said it perfectly yesterday. Well, again, I wrote this. I didn't write it yesterday, but I wrote this to Sunday. So yesterday, when asked about how Bryce Underwood should handle the loss, he was talking about his quarterback, how Bryce Underwood should handle loss. And then, of course, the media asked him the question. He goes, I wanted to fuel him. I wanted him to feel the pain of that loss. All right. And I wanted to fuel him. That is how you grow from losses. At 37 years old, I'm not officially 37 yet. I'll be there in a little over a month. But 37 years old, I still think about every championship loss I took against the Matha, and they went back to back. The Matha won their back-to-back CAC championship this year. I still think about it, right? Again this year, I still think about every girl I could have ended up with, but I didn't. Every friendship that faded, every missed opportunity, and you know what? All of those pieces, every single one of those pieces, at every single one of those pieces, those sharp, painful little pieces, all of them are part of the man, God is shaping me into. All right. You don't get over it. You build with it. You build with those little pieces. It's like taking little pieces. If you've seen a puzzle, take a puzzle that has a ton of little pieces. You take all these little pieces, all these losses, all these little things that happen to you, and you just keep shaping it, and keep shaping it, and keep shaping it until you become the man or woman that God wants you to be. But you cannot just pretend you've gotten over shit. That's the part that is frustrating me whenever I hear people say, "Oh, I just got over that." No, the fuck you did. No, the fuck you did. Because if you got over it, then you would be able to take certain actions and certain things. You wouldn't even be saying certain things. All right. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't get over it. Appreciate it. Own it. Own that you didn't get over it, and then learn what you need to learn, so you don't just simply build a life in which all you're doing is running and hiding and not dealing with your own shit. That's the problem. That's the problem with a lot of folks. All right. So that's number one. Number two, get in it. And like I said, I mentioned this in the Move Swiftly Thought, but I'll go deeper here. Number two is when you do the first part right, and all of these are sequential, they go in order. You just don't let one loss become two losses. Let's stay with Michigan, since they're the reason behind the emotional chaos this week, right? The positive in all of this is we're young on offense, young on defense, young at head coach, young everywhere. It's only Sharon Moore's second year. Bryce is still figuring out the college game. Why we had red shirts, freshmen, and young players at key positions. This season will hurt, but the pain is part of becoming elite. What I respect is that the preparation for 2026 starts today. The moment it became clear that this was Ohio State's year, the rebuild started. That's what not letting one loss become two means. Don't turn a bad day into a bad week. Don't turn a setback into a habit. Take the hit, correct it, move forward. That has to happen. See, that's something I deal with every day when it comes to the people I deal with every day, is they will take one small thing, and instead of stopping it when it happens, when you're fully aware that it is happening, they let that one thing become two things, and then three things. And then before you know it, because it gets ignored for so long, it becomes 2,300 things, because you didn't fucking stop it when it needed to be stopped. This right here, there's a lot of people in the world, there's a lot of weak managers that fall victim of this shit right here. A lot of people who are in positions, supervisors who are just weak in general, don't have the fucking balls, don't have the fucking courage, the guts to actually speak up and stop something, and they let one small loss turn into a whole floodgate of shit that just didn't need to happen. You cannot be that person, especially if you tuned into the work I do. We cut that shit out real quick. All right, when it comes to my employee development workshops, my style and the things that we do, is we cut that shit out real quick. If you're the kind of weak manager that's going to see a problem, know about it, and decide to do not a fucking thing about it, we will have to eradicate. We have to move that mentality, move that personality into somewhere else, so you can actually get shit done. You won't get shit done. Hear me. You won't get shit done if you're not speaking to people. You won't get shit done if you're not telling people what the fucking problem is, and people got to jump through all these fucking hoops and do this and do that to figure out where the problem is. By the time they figure out where the problem is, it's gotten so bad that now certain people gotta just be moved on, or you gotta cut certain people off. That's bullshit. And it all happened because you had a weak manager. You had a weak manager that just decided that they weren't gonna do shit. All right. I can go on a tangent. I absolutely can go on a tangent on that one. I'll let it go for now, but I can absolutely go off on that one. All right. So number 3, which is my favorite one personally, because it's all about recognizing who's really in your corner. All right. Like I said, this might be my favorite one. When you're down, it's some of the best times in your life, folks. When you're down, like really down bad, whether it's financial, whether it's a loss of a significant other, job, whatever. When you're down and you know you can call this person on the phone and y'all can just have a conversation and y'all can demand kick. When you're down and you recognize who's really in your corner, that's the best thing in the world. It's better than being up and being high. Trust me, because now you know when you get there, if you have the mentality, you have the drive, you have the focus, you have the determination, you have whatever it is you need to get there. When you're there, you will know the people that got your back. And I cannot tell you how important that is. Again, I kind of referenced it earlier, but the difference between the previous person to sort of the new person and stuff like that. Again, I'm not saying too much when it comes to that, but it's when you're down, who's really in your corner? Who can you call an actual friend when you're down? All right. So who you call, who shows up, who stays on the phone, who checks in, who just sits with you in the pain until it lifts. Growing up, I experienced this firsthand. All right. Now this is why this one is my favorite, because I was given an incredible example of this growing up. All right. So growing up, I had experienced this firsthand. Every game, win or lose, my mom, my dad, and my sister were there in the stands, in the cold, in the rain, in the blowouts, in the heartbreak, and the victories. That's how you understand loyalty, not in the celebration, but in the L's. Losing reveals everything. Losses reveal everything. There were so many games, so many heartbreaking games that my mother, my father, and my sister have watched me go through, and I could bring them on right now. They could walk you through play by play, script by script, day by day of what that day was like. And they'll tell you there's nothing more gratifying to have than it inspired my move to Florida. It inspired me to say, look, I got people in my back that I can go out to Florida, build my dream, build my life, build the things that I want to build, because I understood that when I was down, these were the people fucking with me. These were the people rocking with me. So you go build what you need to build, but it's so important that you build that foundation. So important that you have that foundation so you can really have the wherewithal to keep going during some absolutely difficult times. All right. So number 3, number 4, another important one that you got to grit your teeth and you got to fucking do it. You got to put your ego aside and do it. And you heard me say it in today's Move Swiftly Thought, where I loved everything that Ryan Day did. He had every fucking reason to get into that press conference and just eat it. Just give Michigan fans a piece of his mind. And he said it. He said, oh, I'm going to keep all that to myself. I'm going to share that with my family. But right now, we're going to win with class. We're going to win with humility. We're going to win with, we're not going to, put flags on M's or anything like that, right? We ain't going to do none of that. We're going to be above that shit. And we're going to just get up out of here and go celebrate with our team. That was picture perfect. And I got to give Ryan Day a hand clap on that, because, man, I cannot tell you the kind of shit he was being thrown by his own people, by his own fan base, was throwing a lot of shit at him last year. And for him to have that platform and have like cinema, people were ready. It's like, oh, give it to him, coach. Give it to him, Coach Day. And it was nothing but class, nothing but respect. So again, shouts out to Ryan Day. I'm actually to the point now where, because he did it, I'm kind of rooting for them to go back to back. I'll be 100% honest with you. And in that, because I just love that for the game. Again, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the Lane Kiffin situation with LSU, and I'll be giving my thoughts on that. But when it comes to what the game needs, the kind of leaders that the game needs to have, that's the kind of stuff that we need to see. We need to see more of that. So, and again, let me read it to you directly. So look, I talked a lot of shit this whole week, deservedly so, because we earned the right after the ass kicking we gave them, and then planting the flag in midfield. So I talked about all of that last year. So, but Ohio State, damn good. They had a point to prove. They heard Fluke. They heard Saw. They heard every disrespectful thing said about them. and they answered. They showed up, they executed, they wanted blood, and they deserve respect, just like people in your real life. And this is where the translation comes. All right, this is where the translation comes in your real life, where you got to move in grace, move in forgiveness, move in a place that you can find a way to forgive these people that you think have done you wrong. Not get over it, right? Not get over it, but move in a place where you can forgive them and thank them and gratify them, because there's nothing, listen, people who are genuine haters, folks that really are putting roadblocks and going out of their way to put roadblocks and not make it so you're successful. They hate it when you're able to move with grace and just say, God, you know what? Thank you for that, because now I know the truth about you. Now I know what you're about. They hate it when you're able to move in grace. They hate it when you're able to, forgive and move on. So just like people in your real life deserve respect when they make a difficult decision that hurts you. Hear me. I'm talking breakup now. I'm talking nasty breakups, right? Just like people in your real life, they deserve respect when they make a decision, a difficult decision. Keyword in this is a difficult decision that hurts you. Not because they don't love you, but because they love you enough to let you go so you can grow into who you were meant to become. Respect is a part of processing that loss. This one's huge, folks. This one's huge because it's a tough thing to hear. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's one of those things where you hear it and you hate it because it's like, God, I hate when you're right. I would hear that all the time. From my girl. Like, it's like, oh my God, I hate when he's right. I hate it when he's right. And it right again. You gotta do that. You gotta make sure you're respecting the opponent enough to where they make a difficult decision that hurts you, crushes you to the point where you can't function, but respect them enough to know that that decision was difficult on them too, and they did it because of how much they love you. That's important. That's an important point we got to make sure we process here, all right? So we do all that, right? We don't get over the losses. We don't let one loss become two losses. We recognize who's really in your corner. You give respect to the opponent. If you put your mind on 1 through 4, steps 1 through 4, you will look up, and it's going to happen within the blink of an eye. And sit in that pain. You sit and let it fuel you. You avoid the compounding losses. You appreciate the people who stay. If you respect the people who leave, then your rhythm returns. You start to get into a rhythm, right? And every storm runs out of rain. As much as it pains me to say this, Ryan Day deserves the credit. They got embarrassed last year, and they've been undefeated ever since. But that's how you respond to a loss. That's the lesson. The opportunity to win again is always closer than you think. When you process it the right way, hear me, folks, hear me, big one. When you process it the correct way, boom, you will blink and the opportunity is sitting right there for you to get it going again. All right. So just to recap, Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 ways to handle losses. Number 1, don't get over it. Don't. I will, as the last person to ever give you some bullshit advice about, oh yeah, just get over it. No, don't get over it. You're not getting over it. It's not going to happen. It happened to you and you need to learn from it. So number 1, don't get over it. Number 2, because you're not going to get over it, you don't let that one loss become 2 losses. Number 3, recognize who's really in your corner. Number 4, give respect to the opponent. And then number 5, again, you do 1 through 4 correctly. You properly make sure that happens. Blink of an eye, you get your opportunity to go again. Your opportunity is going to go again because you'll be so busy processing 1 through 4 and doing that to where your preparation gets on point. You're really focused. You're really grind. You're really doing what you got to do. And next thing you know, bam, the opportunity for you to do whatever it is you want to do, it's right in front of you. It's a couple weeks go by. Michigan's back in Columbus with their now sophomore quarterback who went through that loss, and now they've gotten off it. It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. So bottom line is always be prepared, and you always need to be ready. You always need to have your mindset right. So all that being said, again, to dive deeper into my world and my work when it comes to employee development, main website to check out to dive deeper into all of that, it's makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one, Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.